the working definition of logic, which I, in my years of teaching logic, I was able to come up with this particular definition. So logic is a precise and correct arrangement of thoughts, thinking, and analysis. When we talk about precise, definitely we're dealing here with science, because science does not automatically say that this is it. Like in the context of a criminal investigation, criminal investigators as considered also as scientists insofar as criminal crime investigation is concerned, they do not jump into a conclusion. Ito talaga ang criminal nito ay kaya ito na itabo kay Brie Johnson. Automatic, the family of Brie Johnson would just simply say that the killer is the Ong Pin, the son of business tycoon Ong Pin. So there may be a big possibility that it was Mr. Ong Pin, or there was a foul play, and that foul play was perpetrated by Mr. Ong Pin. But remember, in the criminal law, you cannot automatically or outrightly declare a suspect as guilty as charged, because of the presumption of innocence, unless otherwise the quantum of proof, yung gitawag na to og proof beyond reasonable doubt. If there is a doubt, automatically it would tell to the innocence of the suspect or the accused. But it is something to be proven based on the evidence that may be presented in court if there is an indictment, for correct inferential thinking. Pag sinabi natin correct, to make it valid, there is a certain structure or what we call a method or a process. Just like the scientific method. What results from scientific method, the application of the correctness, when we talk about correctness, by applying the scientific method, automatically we can say that there is precision. Now, we can automatically say that the findings based on a thorough investigation of the cause or causes, we can arrive at certainty or precision, if not accuracy. So arranged. Dapat it should be arranged, just like in a ladder rise, step by step. Like for example, when you are asked to solve a certain mathematical equation in calculus, for example, and then your answer may be correct, or if not, your answer is correct, but your solution is wrong. How can you convince your professor that you did not cheat? How you convince your professor that you are really the one who solved the equation? Because an erroneous solution cannot come up with a correct answer. No, it's highly unlikely. No, it's so unlikely that a program, a bachelor, let's say for example, you're making a program in your thesis. You're doing a program, and there's a fault or an error in the program. You cannot justify, and that program will really never run. Even a single tawag niyan, yung letter lang na kulang dyan sa program, hindi talaga papasok dyan. Just like when you type a password, kahit balik-balikin mo yan kasi very case sensitive, naigdat diha nga kulang, bisag balik-balikon pa na nimo kadaghan, if there is an error in typographical error, when you log in, you cannot enter into that particular site. Kaya nga nagyo sa kasudyati sa una naglagot ko, kay mo insist ko siya nga tama gyud lagi ang iyang pagkuan sa password. Tama gyud, di gyud sa masipyat. At kung gaynan, di ka masipyat dong sa imong password, posible kayo dong di ka kasulod sa tuang klase. Sige daw dong, balik ka daw, naa daw pagayo. So ang iyang password adunay space, and he forgot, and then he acknowledged of course his mistakes, his error, or not mistake. So thoughts, because the moment we process, when we use our mind, gumito na to itong utok, because thinking is an act, thinking is a process, thinking is an operation. there is always a thought, there is always an idea. Then what we are going to arrange is the idea that we have in the mind. Since we cannot set aside the use of language, we cannot forget, we cannot abandon or depart from using language when we think. So therefore, we have to analyze it in accordance with precision and correctness. So that is logic as the precise and correct arrangement of thoughts, thinking, analysis. Classification of logic. There are two general classifications of logic. The first classification is on the validity of reasoning, and the second one is on the approach in arriving at knowledge. So I'd like to emphasize first, what is this classification of logic based on validity of reasoning? There are two. So don't forget, there are two. Formal logic and material logic. Or some authors would call this objects. Tawag na itong objects of logic. We have formal object, material object. But in our case, we're trying to look at it as a classification, and we have a different perspective when we discuss when it comes to formal validity and material validity. One important thing you have to note in reading what is formal logic is the root word of formal, its form. When we talk about formal, we are actually dealing here with valid. I'd like to change the nomenclature of formal validity, material validity into a simple idea of valid and sound. When we talk about formal, we are dealing here with valid or validity. When we talk about material, we are dealing there with soundness or sound. What is formal? Formal simply means in conformity with the structure of correct argument. Remember, in our definition, precise and correct arrangement, I'd like to pick up the idea of correct. When we talk about correct, we are referring to valid. What makes thinking valid, or what makes an argument valid? What constitutes a correct argument or valid argument? When it follows certain structure, when it follows the rules, when it follows the laws. Basically, when it follows the method.